Learning is emotional as well as intellectual. Which among the following applies? Be emotional when teaching, touch students' emotion when teaching, spice class with sense of humor, make the subjects difficult so students will remember them. Answer now? Aka na yung answer now. Aka na remote control. Excuse me, teachers. Isara mo pa yan. Sige, naghanap sila. Ano? Ito ba yun? Ngayon yan eh. Hindi ko na alam kung ano yung umaandar sa dalawa. Answer is, yes, that is correct. The answer is B. Next, 102. Teacher Arnie carefully word his questions to dig deeper into the mind of students. His style of questioning can be called, underline, ano i-underline nating word dyan? Word or words, dig deeper. Answer? 102. Teacher Arnie carefully words his questions to dig deeper into the mind of his students. His style of questioning can be called. Answer now. Yes, that is correct. Prompting, pag madali lang ang sagot. Hindi natin i-discuss, no? Learning is a cooperative and collaborative process. Which activity promotes this? Giving a drill in math, answering in chorus, group work in science, conducting a survey. Answer now. Answer? Yes, you are correct. Group work in science. Next. The teacher asked the question, pause for a while, then call on a student. Is this a sound practice? No, it takes so much time. Yes, it makes the teacher look more glamorous. No, it does not motivate the learners to respond. Yes. 104. Yes, the answer is simply yes. Kasi malinam yung dahilan ng yes sa B, no? Not to look more glamorous. For 105, abstraction denotes blank in the 4A's approach of facilitating learning. Abstraction denotes blank in the 4A's approach of facilitating learning. Is it specific ideas, concrete, general ideas, reticence? Abstraction denotes blank in the 4A's approach of facilitating learning. Specific ideas, concrete, general ideas, reticence. Answer is abstraction denotes general ideas. Okay. Here are the 4A's. Activity, analysis, abstraction, and application. The activity in the 4A's strategy aims to give understanding to what the learner's prior knowledge and give idea that what will be learning through the activity that will be presented. These are the 4A's. Next, teacher Beth would like to make her classroom a place of vigor, light, and life. Which of the following must be added? Is it composure, interest in uniform, presence, reticence? Siyempre, tatanungin ko kayo, what is reticence? Composure, interesting uniform, presence. The answer is C. Reticence is being quiet. Okay, next. Learning is an active process. Teacher May clearly shows this by providing lots of resources, making students learn by doing, allowing slow students extra time to catch up, include movements for better understanding. Learning is an active process. Teacher May clearly show this by providing lots of resources, uh, making his students learn by doing, allowing slow students extra time to catch up, and include movements for better understanding. Number 7. Yes, that is correct. Sige ba sumasagot? Nandito na ba kayo? The answer is B, making students learn by doing. 108. Among the following, by which will help teacher Candy produce a conducive learning environment? Genuine phrases, long assignments, cooperative learning, individual competition. Okay, analyze this. Two possible answers. Among the following, which will help teacher Candy produce a conducive learning environment? Yes, that is correct. The answer is C, cooperative learning. 109. According to Piaget, when new information or experiences causes the child to modify his or her existing schema, this is called accommodation, assimilation, schematization, equilibrium. Okay, now you know the answer is to modify, to change is A, accommodation. And then we already defined these terms. Nung isang araw pa po, yan. What is assimilation? Assimilation is a cognitive process that manages how we take in new information and incorporate that new information into our existing schema. We take in new information, we do not modify it or change the existing schema. Okay? Tapos, equilibrium is when a child's existing schemas are capable of explaining what it can perceive around it. State of cognitive mental balance is equilibrium. Schema, these are the ideas, no? A set of linked mental representations of the world, which we use both to understand and to respond to situations. Accommodation, what occurs when new information or experiences cause you to modify your existing schema. So assimilation, we take in new experiences, but we do not change experiences. Rather than make the information fit into an existing schema, you change the schema in order to accommodate the new information. Again, when you take the new information and try to understand it using a schema, you already have by understanding it using a schema you already have, you are assimilating that information into your current way of thinking. We don't accommodate information. We accommodate to it by changing the way we think. So that's the difference between assimilation and accommodation. Walang magkakamali sa dalawang yan. Learning is evolutionary. Which one is an application of this principle? Students are doing cooperative work. Students are actively engaged. Students learn and solve problems uniquely. Students increase knowledge as time goes by. Learning is evolutionary. Which one is an application of this principle? Answer 110. Learning is evolutionary, which one is an application of this principle? 110. Number 10 na ba? 110, D, 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 D. So your answer is D. Yes, that is correct. 111, which of the following activities involves more senses for learners? Oh, we know the answer to this. Yes, the answer is study trips. 112, ito na tayo. A grade 9 social studies teacher asked the learners to work with other grade 9 students from the campuses in Manila, Bicol, and Cebu. Their project is to create a documentary film that will promote peace. They will be using social media to raise awareness about their peace campaign. What is the level of technology integration involved in this activity? 112. That's your answer, number 112. A grade 9 social studies teacher asked the learners to work with other grade 9 students from the campuses in Manila, Bicol, and Cebu. Their project is to create a documentary film that will promote peace. They will be using social media to raise awareness about their peace campaign. What is the level of technology integration involved in this activity? Answer now. Dapat meron kayong technology integration matrix. Team. Lagyan ng number. Sino bang nag-umpisa? Giselle C. Giselle C. Aris C. Linus C. Joseph R. Bois B. Nasaan sila Jefferson? Nasaan sila Vanessa? Wala si Vanessa. Hindi siya nag-recite. Di ba yun ang most active? Christine, where are you? Are you here? Mm-hmm. Answer. Walang internet kaliban na just kalo. Oy, sayang naman kung kailan naman last day. Ay, nako. Ayan. Siguro si Vanessa hindi mapalagay. Okay, the answer is, let us tingnan natin yun, no? To work with other grade 9 students from campuses, from outside of your classroom. Key yan, ha? Their project is to create a documentary film that will promote peace. They will be using social media to raise awareness about their peace campaign. What is the level of technology integration involved in this activity? Pag ganyan lumabas na sa classroom at meron ng ini-involve na ibang kaklase, ibang mga tao, di ba? To raise social awareness, that is transformation constructive. Tandaan ha, minsan sa ibang tanong, grade 7 naman sila. Pero basta collaborating na with other students, di ba, from other places, ito Manila, Bicol, and Cebu. And then do a project together. And then to raise awareness, ipapublish sa mga social media, then that is transformation. Transformation. Constructive. Either transformation lang, minsan wala namang kapartner yung binibigay. Kasi may isang test dati, mga ang nandun lang na options, entry, transformation, adoption, ayan. Ito naman, may mga pares-pares sila. Basta lumabas na out of the classroom, that now is transformation. So those who answered D, you are correct. You may get your license. Okay. Teacher Lavi found a mobile app that he can use in teaching mathematics. Okay. Tapos, he ensures that the app is good in appearance, arranged according to level of difficulty, and the icons accurately represent what it intends to represent. Which criteria is he considering? 113. 112B, transformation constructive. 113 is, basahin maigi ha, 113. Teacher Lavi found a mobile app that he can use in teaching mathematics. He ensures that the app is good in appearance, according to the level of difficulty, and then the icons accurately represent what it intends to represent. Which criteria is he considering? It is correct. The answer is, ano ba yung sagot natin? Oh, bakit ako, organization kayo ay appropriateness? Teacher Lagi found a mobile app that he can use in teaching mathematics. He ensures that the app is good in appearance, arranged according to level of difficulty, and the icons accurately represent what it intends. Oh, sige teachers, saan kayo nagkamali? You answered appropriateness kasi you read there, arrange according to level of difficulty. That's why you answer appropriateness. The correct answer is B. Kasi ibig sabihin, organized siya. Organized siya, di ba? To, according to the level of difficulty. Iba yung yung mga app naman na appropriate para sa young learners, sa grade 2, sa grade 3, ang answer ng appropriateness. But for this, what is asked is ensures that the app is good in appearance, maganda yung pagkaka-organize, arrange or organize according to the level of difficulty, and the icons accurately represent what it intends to represent. Ibig sabihin, well-organized. So the answer here is organization. Iba pa yung tanong sa appropriateness. Yes, Joseph. Arranged accordingly. Next, Mrs. Maricar. Oh, ito na yung gusto nyo. Mrs. Maricar, a grade 10 science teacher, is checking whether the app covers the standard competencies in the curriculum guide prescribed by DepEd and content is not too easy nor too difficult for her students. Which criteria is he focusing? Ayan, sige, sagutin nyo na yan. Not too easy, not too difficult. Not too easy, not too difficult. Yes, the answer now is appropriateness. Yan yung yan yung tamang tanong for the answer, appropriateness. Which of the following shows computer literacy? Spending overnight in gaming and downloading materials, use of computer for specific task, fundamental knowledge and experience in using computers, knowledge and skill in computer programming. Spending overnight in gaming and downloading materials. What is our answer? Yes, you are correct, teachers. Our answer is C, fundamental knowledge and experience in using computers. 116. In teaching war on pollution and poverty, teacher Mel utilized photographs. What is the main benefit of using such instructional material? 116. Gumamit si Teacher Mel ng photographs in teaching war against pollution and poverty. Answer? Iba-iba kayo ng sagot. Varied ang inyong mga sagot. 116, merong C, persuade students to participate. Si Ma'am Matanog Racida, D, provides experience of the problem. Si Zim, B, emotional impact. Diba? C, si Joseph. Jezreel, B. What is the answer? Pag may pictures, ano siya? Increases interest. Yes, the answer is increases interest. Ano na, Christine, Joseph, get your license. And those who answered A. Okay. Get your license. Mine.
Mine.
Okay. What could schools do to avoid using textbooks as sole instructional materials due to its poor preparation in subject matter. Parang hindi tama yung ano. Pero yan, sige. Yan siguro ibig sabihin niya. What could schools do to avoid using textbooks as the sole instructional materials? Anong dapat, para hindi lang textbooks ang ginagamit ng mga teachers. Ano pwedeng gawin ng teachers? Ay, ng school. Number 17, training in preparing instructional materials. That is correct. Yes. Parang nagpunta na ako dati sa CBO, sa Iligan. Parang ito yung topic ko sa St. Michael's. Okay, the following are the responsibilities of an education technology center of a school, except the following are responsibilities of an education technology center of a school, except designing training for teachers and mobile app learning, creating the technology projects of their students, provide technology equipment for students and teachers, collaborate with teachers about technology research and projects. That is very easy. Sige, tapusin na natin to para makapunta tayo sa 3. Massive open online courses or MOOC are open because it is open to anyone's ideas. It is only available during the opening of the school year. It can be accessed for free. Ano pa ba? It can be accessed by anyone, anytime, and anywhere as long as they have internet connection. That is correct. Your answer is D. 120. Para din ako D. Para din ako may question mark. It is the term used to describe the search for articles through accessing various databases in a computer connected to other computer via telephone line. Is this compact disk research? A compact disk search, computer search, online search, manual search. 120. Answer? 120. May D, may C, may D, may aba, iba-iba. Bakit iba-iba? Madali lang to Di ba alam ito mga millennials? Mga, Generation Z? The answer is C, online. Okay, 121. Which learning episode involves a purposeful, clear, and well-organized collection of student work? Easy. 121. Which learning episode involves a purposeful, clear, well-organized collection of student work? That is correct. It is a portfolio. Teacher Anthony provided his students with an analytic rubric as a guide for them to check if their journalism project on edition of their campus paper meets the criteria before they submit the work. The practice best supports 122. Assessment of learning, assessment of and for learning, assessment as learning, assessment for learning. Most of you answered C. Teacher Annie provided his students with an analytic, ano mga important, ano mga giveaway dyan. Analytic rubric. Yan, ang analytic rubric dito is to check if their journalism project and edition of the campus. Yeah, the answer here is assessment as learning. Next, the students of Mrs. Francisco are using a scoring rubric to assess their own work and decide on what further improvement they can do. What level of thinking is this in Bloom's taxonomy? What level of thinking in the Bloom's taxonomy is this? 123. Yes, you are correct. The answer is A, evaluating. 124. Which of the following types of objectives objective test items is considered to be the most basic and often involves plain recall of information. Ayan. 124. Which of the following types of objective test is considered to be the most basic and often involves plain recall of information? 124. Are you 124? Sabi ni Joseph A, Giselle C, Rohaifa C, Marian C. Answer. Ilan pa lang tong sumasagot? Tatlo pa lang. Ay, apat. Si Yumika C, Joseph A, to Joseph C, C. Okay. Teachers, batahin ulit. Which of the following types of objectives is test items is considered to be the most basic, and often involves plain recall? Akala ko easy item to. Why did you answer multiple choice? Bakit ano? Oh, ayun na. Meron nang sumasagot ng A. Si Nona, si Jefferson, at saka si Kristen, si Zem. Kanina, ano yung mga sagot nyo? Pinaka-basic, it's fill in the blanks, no completion. Yung multiple choice, hindi mahirap nga gawin yung multiple choice eh. Pero sa lahat ng test, ito ang pinakamaganda ang multiple choice. It doesn't mean that you only use multiple choice type of test. Charlotte, D. The answer is A. The correct answer is A. Which of the following types of objective test items is considered to be the most basic? Ang pinaka-basic ko, completion, fill in the blanks. Involves plain recall. Fill in the blanks, di ba? The correct answer is A, completion. Tandaan yan ha. To ensure that a standardized test covers the subjects or courses in a school, district, or region is to ensure that the test has blank validity. To ensure that a standardized test covers the subjects or courses in a school, district, or region is to ensure that the test has a blank validity. Answer 125. 125, Jefferson is A, Joseph is A, Aris is A, Marian B, Scarlett A, si Marian. Mga bagong attend lang ba kayo today? Princess Jane B, Zachary A. New names. I haven't, this is the first time na nakita ko yung Rohaifa, Scarlett, Sophia. Yes, the answer is curricular. The answer is curricular. Curriculum. Di ba curriculum? To ensure that a standardized test covers the subjects or courses in a school, district, or region is to ensure that the test has curricular ability. So what is curricular validity? Curricular validity is defined by how a test measures what it's supposed to measure. Curricular validity refers to how well test items reflect the actual curriculum. A test is supposed to be a measure of what's on the curriculum. We call that curricular activity. It usually refers to a specific, well-defined curriculum like those provided by states to schools. Makla, okay, what is provided by DepEd to schools, okay, CHED to universities and colleges. Maklang in 1978 defines it as a measure of how well tests items represent the objectives of the curriculum. Curricular validity. How about instructional validity? It is a similar term. A similar term is instructional validity, which is how well the test items reflect what is actually taught. Kasi minsan, nasa curriculum nga, pero hindi naman itinuro. That's the problem sometimes. You can hear this test takers, those who took the test, sabi, ma'am, okay, nag-review pa lang sila. Ma'am, di naman namin yan naaral. Ang sabi ko, imposible dahil kasama yan sa ating competencies. Kasama yan sila sa curriculum. Yes, Joseph, nandyan nga sila kanina, pero kahapon ng isang araw wala sila. Yun ang ibig kong sabihin. Okay? So that is instructional validity na ituro ng instructor. Okay? Next is, McClung defines instructional validity as an actual measure of whether the schools are providing students with instruction in the knowledge and skills measured by the test. Here now is the problem of DepEd, especially sa mga schools na mga nasa malalayong lugar, no? If you give them the test and then the children are habitual absentees o kaya ang teacher hindi talaga na-cover yung buong curriculum and then they are given a standardized test, mga national tests, of course, they will score very low kasi hindi na ituro lahat ng competencies which were supposed to be covered by the curriculum in the first place. And then hindi din siya naturo. So therefore, yung mga cases na ganyan, walang curricular validity, wala rin silang instructional validity. Hindi na-cover, hindi naturo. How about construct? What is construct validity? Construct validity is the degree to which a test measures what it claims or purports to measure. Para sila ng ibig sabihin. In the classical model of test validity, construct validity is one of the three main types of validity evidence, alongside content validity and criterion validity. Construct validity is the appropriateness of inferences made on the basis of observations or measurements, often test scores. Specifically whether a test measure the intended construct. Now let's proceed. Teacher Charlene ensures in her subject that she handles have items that adequately reflect subject content. The test has what kind of validity. Teacher Clarine ensures that in the subject that she handles, the items adequately reflect the subject content. So the answer here is content validity. In planning an achievement test, which should you do first? Construct a TOS, select the type of test, decide on the length of the test, identify the instructional objectives. Answer? Sige nga, Aris, can you explain to me your answer? Can you sequence this correctly? Planning an achievement test, which comes first. So you say, 1 is D, ano yung number 2? What's number 2? Jefferson, ano yung sagot mo? Bakit A ka? In planning, ang first thing to do is the identifying the instructional objectives. Okay, the question is, sabi ni Jefferson, 1 is D, 2 is A, ito, and then 3 is B, and then 4 is C. Tama ba to? Sino may ibang sagot? Sabi ni Princess, next to objectives is TOS. So next to objective is TOS. How about the others? Sige nga, i-arrange nyo nga yan. D, A, C, B. Sabi ni Lina. D, A, C, B. Magkaiba sila sa B and C. Sabi ni Zim, D, B, ano yung sa Zim? Ano sa Zim? D, B, D, B, sabi ni Micah, D, A, B, C, si Princess D, A, B, C, si Ma'am Juliet, D, B, A, ano yan? D, B, A. Hindi ko na-get si Ma'am. D, Zim, S, D, A, C. Same, padugtong mo yung sagot mo kasi. Kristen, S, D, B, C, A. Zim, S, D, B, C, A. Joseph, si Ma'am Juliet, D, B, D, B, A. Joseph, D, B, C, A. Zachary, D, B, A, C. Iba ha? Okay, the correct answer is this correct? The correct answer is D. Ano mga susunod? Planning a test and construction a table of specs. First is identifying the test objectives. Next is deciding on the type of objective test to be prepared. Yes, tama, DB kanina, no? And then preparing a table of specs. Pangatlo lang yung table of specs. And constructing the draft items. Identifying test objectives. So, kanina ay, ano ba kanina? Tandaan niya na. What is 1? 1, 2, 3, 4. Therefore, D, B, D, B, D, B, A, C. Sino yung sumagot ng DBAC? DBAC. Yes. Instructional objectives. Selecting the type of test. Construct the table of specs. And then decide on the length of the test. Okay. And then try out and validation. Next. Teacher Jelly's class is mostly composed of the top students in her municipality. The distribution of their test scores will most likely be skewed to the right, platycurtic, very normal, skewed to the left. So you answer 128 now. Skewness of scores. Jefferson's answer is D. Is mostly composed of top students. Top students. Most of the scores are, saan nagko-congregate ang scores sa isang negatively skewed distribution? Yes, the answer is D. Skewed to the left. What do we mean by skewed to the left? Saan saan mataas ang frequency ng high scores? Saan mataas ang frequency ng scores? Sa left or side ng distribution? Ito ang left, ito ang right. Saan ang mas maraming scores? Sa right, tama. Tapos, saan siya nag-skew? Saan siya nag-skew or saan siya pumaling? Ibig sabihin, matataas lang, tapos biglang umiba. Na-skew siya, no? Skewed to the left. So that's why the answer is skewed to the left. This is your negatively skewed distribution. Tandaan ha, konti ang low scores. Look at the distribution. Very few scores. And then most of the scores are high. Tapos, ang skewness niya is to the left. Skew. Skew is naiba, pumaling. Yan, the answer is negatively skewed. What do you mean by this kind of distribution? What does this imply? The scores are high because the students are bright, no? Mga above average students, or the test is very easy. Ang pwedeng dahilan, magaling ang mga bata o kaya masyadong madali yung tanong kaya matataas sila. So this is a positively skewed distribution. Most of the scores are low. The scores congregate on the left side of the distribution and then nag-skew siya to the right. Okay. Next. Which kind of multiple choice type questions is Charles Babbage is considered is? The question is, ganyan kasi. Charles Babbage is considered to be a father of modern computer, B, international statesman, C, father of the internet, D, pioneered e-learning. Anong klase multiple choice item daw siya? Hindi ko maintindihan si Teacher Odessa kung ba't kinumpare niya sa paa. Okay, the answer is yes, it is correct. That is simple knowledge. In the following example of a test item, which guideline is not observed? Jose Rizal wrote, there is no problem in the stem. The blank is at the end of the question. It is open to more than one correct answer. The length of the blank suggests the answer. 130. 130. Our answer is, wrote, no limit ang here, el filibusterismo, sa aking mga kababata, sa mga kadalagahan ng malolos. Pwedeng isagot mas yan, no? So the answer is, it is open to more than one correct answer. So that is not a good item. Okay. This curricularist uses unique and out-of-the-box strategies to make his or her class highly engaging. He or she is A or an, knower, innovator, writer, implementer. Lagyan ng number. 131. Out of the box strategies. Out of the box strategies. The answer is innovator. Next, which of the following essay topics best assess originality and higher order thinking skills? Highlights of the Philippine presidencies, facets of the Philippinism, post-EDSA human rights issue in the Philippine democracy, the national hero as a patriot. (132) Which of the following essay topics best assess originality and higher order thinking skills? Highlights of the Philippine presidencies, facets of the Philippinism, post-EDSA human rights issues in the Philippine democracy, the national hero as a patriot. The answer is, most of the answers, C talaga. What do we mean by originality and higher order thinking skills? Of course, pag essay na yan, di talagang kailangan ng higher order thinking skills. Paano magiging original ang essay mo? Ano kaya dito ang topic ang medyo original? Like some of these topics can the content or you can look for the answers sa sa answer. Alin dyan, yung medyo magiging original ka. Kasi sarili mo yun, sarili mong pananaw, hindi siya talaga reflected sa history. No, teacher, the correct answer is B. Facets of Philippinism. Kasi you look at this, facets is mga phases of Philippinism. You see different things, di ba? Sa paningin mo, ano ang mga facets? Ano ibig sabihin ng facets? Mukha ng pagiging Pilipino, ng pagka-Pilipino. Yung post-EDSA human rights issues in the Philippine democracy, meron niyang listahan, lalo na yung mga yung mga organisasyon ng mga tumutulig sa pamahalaan. The National Heroes of Patriot, you have a listing of that, ng mga ginawa nila para sa bayan, highlights of the Philippine presidencies. Syempre, merong nag-document niyan, mga historians. Anong naganap nung si itong presidente? Anong naganap nung ganyan? Di ba? Nasa history yan. Ang facets of Filippinism, yes. Ang facets of Filippinism is how you look at the different phases of being a Filipino. The answer is B. So, iba naman ang pananaw, may iba rin ang pananaw. Iba. So, ibig sabihin, yung gawa mo is walang makakatulad. Di ba? Walang katulad. It's original. Your own thoughts on Filippinism. Next, distractors in a multiple choice type item are, what do you call this? These distractors, these are the 133. These are the incorrect choices. While the correct answer is the, anong correct answer? The correct answer is the, sige nga sabihin nyo nga sa akin kung anong correct answer. Ma'am, meron po ba kayong yung mga nanghingi sa akin kagabi ng answer key? Yan. Okay. Correct. Wala akong answer key ng physics dahil hindi ko alam yan. Yung si Kim at saka si Jefferson. Yung iba may sagot kasi meron akong mga estudyante or lecturer. Hindi ako nag-lecture ng konti lang. Sa Cebu pala, meron ako mga physics major. But then I wasn't able to, hindi ko lang kung saan ko inilagay yung answer key. Hinihingi ako sa mga lectures ng answer key, but definitely I don't have the answer to those. A teacher is trying to assess her students' prior level of knowledge and skills. A starting point in setting up her lessons. She needs to do a blank. Oh, sige. A teacher is trying to assess her students' prior level of knowledge and skills. A starting point in setting up her lessons. She needs to do a diagnostic evaluation, placement evaluation, summative evaluation, program evaluation. Sige, tinan ko nga ang inyong mga sagot. Mm-hmm. Okay. Who can explain their answer? All of you answered A. So, sino magiging person sa inyo? The answer is A. Mika, A. Mika. Why A? Question is, bakit A ang sagot niyong lahat?
It's letter A po.
Yeah, sige. Please answer. Explain. Sino pang sumasagot?
Oh, ma'am, Zim, ma'am.
Zim, sige Zim.
Yes, ma'am. So for me, a teacher is trying to assess her students' prior level of knowledge. Clue ko dito is prior level of knowledge. So I chose diagnostic. Placement evaluation, ma'am, is more on school admission. It's about placing a student o asa siya na belong. Summative evaluation po is right after discussion, formative tsaka summative assessment. So, dato summative evaluation, ma'am. So, dili siya mo fit in sa prior level of knowledge, ga-assess sa prior level of knowledge. Program evaluation, akong nadumduman, ma'am, is ma-remember na ako sa program evaluation is more on sa curriculum, ma'am.
Tama ba yan? Who can explain their answer? Sige ma'am, what is diagnostic evaluation? What is diagnostic evaluation? Yung mga pretest po, sabi ni Jefferson, diagnostic evaluation, mga pretest. A teacher is trying to assess her students' prior level of knowledge and skills, a starting point in setting up her lessons. What do you assess sa diagnostic evaluation? Most of you answer diagnostic evaluation. Prior knowledge. Strengths and weaknesses. It's like testing students' weaknesses and strength when it comes to subject matter po. Yan ba tinatanong? A teacher is trying to assess her students' prior knowledge, prior level of knowledge and skills, a starting point in setting up her lessons. Paano ba mag-set up ng lesson? Yes, ang diagnostic is strengths and weaknesses, but more on weaknesses. Weaknesses kasi to diagnose is parang doctor, no? Alamin ang sakit, alamin kung ano ang kanyang weakness, sabi ni Ma'am Juliet, for the teacher to know where to start her lessons based on what the student already have in their minds. Ang diagnostic is to assess the students, usually it's difficulties. Yes, weaknesses. Ang strength, yes, pwede rin strength and weaknesses, pero more on weaknesses and difficulties. At saka, kasi ang strength naman, ang ano niyan is kung saan siya magaling, kung saan ang kanyang aptitude. Ayan. Like a doctor, ilang araw na sumasakit ang ulo? Yes. So, dinadiagnose niya, di ba? So, you know what to prescribe. Kaya nagda-diagnose. The answer here is, this is my answer. So if you still want to answer diagnostic, then it's up to you. The answer is placement evaluation. What is placement evaluation? Okay, basa nga. What is placement evaluation? Sa Google, hanapin nyo. Placement evaluation is assessing entry-level skills, diba, to provide for intervention or to provide for instruction. Sometimes you group your students. Ito yung mga fast learners, ito yung mga average learners, ito yung mga slow learners. You would know what kind of instruction would best benefit this group of students or this particular students. It's not really sectioning. It's not necessarily sectioning kasi heterogeneous ang grouping ngayon, di ba? Hindi na sectioning before na masyadong discriminatory and then masyadong intentional labeling na merong section 1, section 2. It is not really sectioning. And it's like identifying who what this group of children are. Di ba? Ano ang kanilang present skills. So, ano ang ibig sabihin na to? You would know the appropriate instruction for this type of learner or for this group of learners. Ano naman ang diagnostic is, ang diagnostic is pag merong repeated manifestations ang bata na mababang score, cannot catch up. So, you diagnose, saan ba siya mahina? What is the problem? Yun yung diagnostic evaluation. It's not always for sectioning, Sir Jefferson. Placement evaluation is not always for sectioning. Ang placement evaluation is done before instruction. Ang diagnostic evaluation can be done, all throughout the instruction process. Halimbawa, nag-ano ka ngayon, nag-lesson kasi may isang bata hindi makakatch up, then ita-diagnose ko kung anong problema niya. Maski during instruction. The answer is placement evaluation. If your answer is diagnostic, I will respect your answer. Okay, next. A teacher is planning to require a portfolio to determine outcomes from intended objectives. Outcomes from intended objectives. Which type of portfolio is this? Is this development portfolio, a showcase portfolio, evaluation portfolio, assessment portfolio? A teacher is planning to require a portfolio to determine outcome from intended objectives. Which type of portfolio is best? Is it development portfolio, showcase portfolio, evaluation portfolio, assessment portfolio? Sana hindi nila itanong yung kanina yung diagnostic at saka placement para hindi tayo magkamali. Okay, 135. The answer is intended objectives. Determine outcomes from intended objectives. Outcomes. C, D. Very confusing siya, no? Merong C. Pwedeng C. It could be C. It could be D. Actually, pwede naman talaga no? Outcomes, yes, Nona. Outcomes, so the correct answer is D. Kaya nga binilugan ko yung outcomes. Diba? Intended outcomes, tapos methods and strategies, and then assessment. Next, yun na lang ang keywords natin ha. Teacher Angela is using assessment to determine whether her students are improving and whether they are on track towards mastery of the lessons. Which type of assessment best describes this? Okay, isa pa to na magulo. Teacher Angela is using assessment to determine whether her students are improving and whether they are on track towards mastery of the lessons. Which type of assessment best describes this? 136. Teachers, yung mga sumasagot dyan na whether her students are improving, whether they are on track, di ba, improving or wala. Bakit kayo nagsasamative? Samative is incorrect. Ang samative is at the end of instruction. Answer is formative. That is correct. The answer is formative. Next, observation, although considered to be non-measurement, needs to be as objective as possible. This is done with memory or recall, hunches or guesses, common sense, written notes or records. Observation, although considered to be non-measurements, needs to be as objective as possible. This is done with memory or recall, hunches or guesses, common sense, written notes or records. That is correct. The correct answer is D. 138. In K-12, how many failures will mean retention in the same grade level? Answer. Tinatanong talaga sa lab yung tanong na yan. The answer is failure in at least 3 learning areas. What will happen to James, a grade 4 student, if he failed in 2 learning areas? Lalabas to sa lab. The mga interpretation of grades. Yes, the correct answer is Jefferson, ba't si ka? Bakit kayo si Jefferson and Zim? The correct answer, ano ba ang C? Promoted to the next level with back subjects. Hindi, kailangan i-take nila yan during the summer. Remedial. So the answer is A. Okay, next. Teacher Anne observed that her students were linguistically intelligent. Which tool for assessment would be best suited? Si Odessa may tanong, ma'am, pwede po paano po mag-grade sa senior high? Matagal-tagal yan, teacher, i-discuss. Okay. Teacher Anne observed that her students were linguistically intelligent. Which tool for assessment? The answer is book report. Next, which practice would ensure fairness of a criterion reference test? Ensure clarity of instructions, add items with similar content, improve scoring objectives, align items with learning objectives. Which practice would ensure fairness of a criterion reference test, ensure clarity of instructions, add items with similar content, improve scoring procedures, align items with learning objectives? Your answer is 16. Yes, that is correct. The correct answer is D, 142. To ensure that grades are meaningfully reported, which must be done? Announce names of students who need remediation. Console with parents whose children are non-performing by telling them that nobody fails. Rank the report cards from highest to lowest, then distribute according to rank. Explain how grades were computed. Yes, 142. What is the answer? 142. That is correct. Explain how grades were computed. 143. When reporting grades vis-a-vis K to 12, what is our essential to tell the parents? That grades give a picture of students' performance, that grades compare students' performance against established standards, that grades compare students' performance against other students' performance. When reporting grades vis-a-vis K to 12, what is our essential to tell the parents? That grades give a picture of students' performance, that grades compare students' performance against established standards, that grades compare students' performance against other students' performance. 3 only, 2 only, 1 and 2, 1, 2, and 3. That grades give a picture of students' performance, yes. That grades compare students' performance against established standards, yes. So, anong klaseng to? Against a set of established standards, anong klaseng interpretation of interpretation of scores? Criterion or norm? Criterion, yes. Etong D. Ano naman yung D? Yung grades compare students' performance against other students' performance. Anong interpretation yan? Criterion, yung isa, ito ay, yung 3, this is norm. Meron ba kayong example ng mga norm referenced norm referenced interpretation? Norm? Pwede rin kasi ito kasi halimbawa, percentile ranking, no? Ito po yung ang anak niyo po is mas mataas siya sa 85% ng kanyang mga estudyante. Pwede rin. Kaso sa K-12, ang K-12 kasi is criterion referenced. So, hindi pwede yung 3. So, the answer is 1 and 2. Okay. I have to check if my students were able to produce po yan, hindi procedure. Produce. I have to check if my students were able to produce the expected output. Ano ba yung expected output? Which type of portfolio am I interested to see? Is that assessment portfolio? O sa expected output? Assessment portfolio, development portfolio, showcase portfolio, evaluation portfolio. 145. Odessa, is that a norm or criterion? That is norm. Ang alam ko is it's norm. Kasi how do you compete for the passing grade sa LET ay the average, the highest rating and the lowest rating. Yung the average of the highest rating and the lowest rating is the passing score for the left. Yes, Zim, that is norm. Yes. Kasi nagtanong sila dati sa taga-PRC, mga nag-review, nung nireview ko sa Bicol, tinanong nila yung taga-PRC, ang sabi daw is, yung pinakamataas na score, at saka yung pinakamababang score, you get that average, nag-average, and then that is the passing grade. Sana na lang para mababa ang passing rate. Dapat na merong mababang makascore. Okay, pag sinabing output, the answer is evaluation portfolio. Yun na lang, no? Yung, ano ba to? Expected outcomes assessment. Ito naman is expected output. Doon na lang natin i-discriminate between the two. So the answer here is evaluation. Although, pwede naman talagang mas isaan dun sa dalawa. Which standardized test is used to measure performance in completed subjects at various grade levels? Which standardized test is used to measure performance in completed subjects at various grade year or levels? Is it remedial, achievement, intelligence, aptitude? Answer? And 46 is B, achievement test or summative test. Another name for achievement test is summative test. Next, tingnan nyo teachers, meron ditong aptitude test. What is aptitude test? Yung kanyang galing, no? Teacher Rita wants her pupil to display their favorite poem among the poems each one composed. What type of portfolio is Teacher Rita expecting to see? Teacher Rita wants her pupils to display their favorite poem. What type of portfolio is this? Yes, that is assessment. I showcase portfolio. Okay, 148. How are grades in MAPE subjects, music, arts, PE, and health computed? How are grades in MAPE subjects, music, arts, PE, and health computed? 1 grade for music, arts, and PE, another for PE and health, 50% for health, this first subjects. Answer? Is your answer? The answer is average of quarterly grades. 148, Zim is D, Lanya is B. The answer is D, average of quarterly grades in 4 areas. Actually, there is a grade for music, arts, P, and then you get the average for the quarterly grade. And then, ang general average niyan, pag nagko-compute na, is the average of all the 4 quarters. Kukunin mo sa lahat ng subjects. So, kunin mo lahat ng subjects. Okay? In the new grading system, on which are the students grades based from grades 1 to 12? In the new grading system, on which are the students grades based from grades 1 to 12? The answer is... the answer is C. 1, 2, 3, written work. Usually, ilang percent to, no? Huwag natin isama yung sa hanggang grade 10. Ilang percent sa written work? No? Di 40 yan. 40. Tapos, 40. Tapos 20. Okay. Pag MAPE TLE, 20, 60, 20. Pag MAPE tsaka TLE. Okay, next. If higher education is concerned with outcomes, DepEd is concerned with If higher education is concerned with outcomes, DepEd is concerned with performance test results, subject content results, standard and competencies, achievement test results. Correct? The answer is standard and competencies. Teachers, may mga questions pa dito, sagutan nga natin. Ayan. Wala na to sa ano nyo, wala na to sa papel nyo. Let's answer this. Teacher Amy demonstrated the deductive method of teaching in her class. Based in her teaching demo, she asked her class to outline the steps of a deductive method. The students' outline served as the starting point of the class discussion on the steps of deductive method. Did Teacher Amy go deductive? Sige. Lagyan nyo, 151. 151. Teacher Amy demonstrated the steps of deductive method. Answer. The answer is no, she went inductive. Okay. Define your target. Yes, lisensya. Okay. Ayan, teacher. Examine the bulletin board display. This bulletin board fulfills which primary purpose? Decorative, motivational, instructional, interactive, informational. 152. Correct? That is instructional, interactive. Examine the bulletin board display. This bulletin board fulfills which primary purpose? Decorative, motivational, instructional, interactive, information. Yeah. Answer? Your answer is 152. Your answer is informational. No. 153. 153 na ba to? Ano kanina? Di ka ha, Hindi ako Bisaya, teacher. Pakitagalog nga ang mga sinasabi nyo. Decorative? Motivation. Di kaya motivational ang answer? Ano kaya? Teacher, so sumagot na kayo. What is the sagot? What is the answer? The answer is, ano ba nakalagay? Best work. Fantastic. Grand. Remarkable. Magnificent. Ayan. Ano siya? It is informational. Instructional law. Ano tinuturo niyan? Decorative? The answer is motivation. Okay, 154. Examine the bulletin board display. This bulletin board fulfills which primary purpose? Who suppose fall in love with a book? Answer is yes, motivational, decorative. Okay. Next. Yan, 155. Examine the bulletin board display. This bulletin board fulfills which primary purpose? 155. Yes, the answer is A. Ito 156. What does a normal curve mean in a grade distribution of scores? All have average grades, largest number with high grades and a few low grades, large number of more or less average and few receiving low and high grades, D, largest number receiving low and high grades. Okay, answer. What does a normal curve mean in a grade distribution?
156. Zim, ang sagot ni physics major is A. Jo Marie A. Zachary A. How about you? Yung iba, ano pong sagot niyo? Answer? Ikaw, Jefferson, anong sagot mo? Si Nona, yung Odessa. Wait lang po. Si Nora Amelin C. Nora Amelin. C. What does a normal curve mean in a grade distribution? Sagot na. C. Nora Amelin, kindly explain your answer. Okay, the rest on your paper, draw a normal curve. Draw a normal curve distribution. Ingay. Sige. Okay, open your camera now. Ipakita sa camera yung drawing yung normal curve. Open your camera, all of you now. Mga bonus items to ha. Wala yan sa papel niya pero dinidiscuss ko. Yes, Princess, that is the normal curve. Who else? Ang laki naman ng papel ni Princess. Is that a whiteboard? Sino pa? Sige, open your camera and show me your normal curve. Nora Emeline, draw your normal curve. Sino pa ba? Sino ang gusto Nora Emeline will explain C, and then Kim will explain A. Sensya na, marami kaming aso. Teachers, hindi mag-open ng camera. Huwag niyo akong mapi-PM para kung may hinihingi kayo At inaantok na ako, gusto ko na magpahinga. Pinagbibigyan ko yung mga PM nyo Open your camera now. And then show me your normal curve. Yes, Giselle. So that is your normal curve. Thank you. Nora Ameline, kindly unmute your microphone and explain to us what do you mean by your answer, C.
A normal curve in grade distribution is more of the learners have their average grades, while few of the learners have and few are kanang maliit sa highest score, tapos maliit din so ang karamihan sa kanila is average yung kanilang grades.
So, ibig mo sabihin, ma'am, marami ang nakuha na average score, may konting mababa, may konting mataas. Tama ba, ma'am?
Yes, ma'am.
Oo. Okay, Kim, baka-explain mo naman yung drawing mo. Kim. Okay, teachers, if in your distribution, all have average grades, show me the shape of your distribution. Kim.
Ako, ma'am. Okay, ma'am. So, mali ko, ma'am.
So, agad si Sim. Bakit ka mali?
Ingon ni mo ma'am nga draw the normal curve. So ato pa na ko na-realize nga na ang day space there is a left ug sa right which defines the low score sa PICAS and high score sa PICAS din.
Anong pikas?
Side ma'am, side. Sorry.
Kabila, mga outliers, no? Mga outliers. Outliers sa kabila. Pika sa kabila. Okay.
Yes, ma'am. So, after I draw the normal curve, ma'am, doon ko lang po na-realize na it's letter C pala.
Kaya nga, di ba, I-ask you to draw the normal curve. Kasi, kung ang ano nyo, sige nga, teacher, Zim, i-drawing mo nga yung answer mo, all have average grades. Sige nga, ipakita nga natin sa kanila yung drawing ng distribution na lahat ay average. Alam mo, i-drawing yan? Ano, what are average scores? Ang average scores is mean plus minus 1 SD. Di ba, Zim?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Plus minus 1 SD. SD is standard deviation. So, sige nga, Kim, mag-drawing ka nga ng all have average scores.
Mangitas ko ballpen, ma'am. Wait sa
Wait sa. Nag-drawing ako ng letter A. Sige nga, Kim, kung parehas tayo ng drawing ng letter A. Tawa siya.
Makita ninyo? Or ako naman yung makita? Makita ninyo? Ay ka, ang average grades ako, yes, wala space, like, sa linya, dato dyan sa curve.
Pag ganito,
nakita ninyo or ako nang inyo nakita?
Hindi namin. Ikaw ang nakikita ko, Zim. Parang ganyan, no?
Ana?
Ito yung A eh. This is A. Diba?
Yes, ma'am.
Lahat sila average. Ito yung normal curve nyo. Ito yung normal curve. Yan ang parang siya. Yan. Ito namang A nyo. This is A. Lahat ay average. Nandun siya sa, this is the mean, and then this is negative 1 SD and positive 1 SD. So magiging ganyan siya para siyang ganito. Diba? So if you will illustrate your distribution for A, this is how it will look like. Hindi siya normal curve. Hindi siya, ano ba tawag sa ganyan? Hindi siya ganun.
It's a term.
Parang leptocortic po siya.
Yeah, para siyang leptokurtic. Yes. Okay, so this is your normal curve. Ayan siya. Most of the scores, ayan, nandyan siya sa negative 1 SD and positive 1 SD. Ang mga scores na nandito, ito hanggang dito, average score siya. Tama ba? Mean plus 1 standard deviation, like 34% of the scores ay nasa mean positive 1 standard deviation. At saka sa negative 34, di ba? Sa negative 1 is this another 34%. Minsan may tinatanong, ilang number of cases ang nandoon sa negative 1 SD and positive 1 SD. Ano ang number of cases? Your answer is 64. You add 68. You add 34 and 34 is 68. Yan ang average scores. 68%. Sa normal curve, 68% ng scores ay average. While ang percentage ng below average or mga low scores ay 39.59 plus 39.59 plus 2.15 plus 13. Yan yung low scores. Tapos ang high scores naman ay ito, 13.59. Paki-add nyo nga mga mathematicians dyan. Ilan yan? Ilang percent? Yung mga below average. 3, 3, 6, 7, 7, 5. Mga 5 lang yan, mga 6%. 6 plus 6, 12, 24, okay, 2. Mahina ako sa math.
16% ang highest score, ma'am.
16%, mga 16 plus 16, tama. Mga 16% siya. Yung below average ay 16% sa left at saka sa right. So this is a normal curve. So now interpret this. Interpret this. Most of the scores are average. Tama ba? In a normal curve distribution, most of the scores, kasi more than 50%, no, most of the scores are average with a few low scores, and a few high scores. That is your normal curve. Tama ba, teachers? Naintindihan?
Yes, ma'am. Thank you, ma'am.
Yeah, so hindi yan average. Kasi kung average siya na itsura niyan, paano ba yan? Paano nga ba yung babalik sa dati? Eraser. Ayan, eraser. Kung siya ay all scores are average, ang normal curve mo ganito. Ay, ang curve mo ay magiging ganyan, di ba? Left to right. Hindi naman sumusunod yung ano ko. Ito. Ayan siya. Ayan lang siya. Nandun siya sa, ito. Yan, yung area yan lang. Yan ang iyong curve, no? Yung negative 1 SD at positive 1 SD, yun ang inyong, ganyan ang iyong distribution. Eraser. Gets? Kaya nga dinagdag ko yung item yan kasi alam ko isasagot niyo yung average, hindi mali kayo. Okay. What characterizes the academic approach to classroom discipline? Objectives, methods, and outcomes, calmness, consistency, compliance, work organization procedure, control, persistence, sanctions. Academic approach to classroom management, what is your answer? Tinanong yan sa let, kaya sinama ko, baka itanong ulit. Answer? Answer now sa ating chat box. Ano bang number to? 157. The answer is C. Mali ang sagot niyo. A ang sagot niyo. The answer is C. 157 is C. Napindot ko. IC pala. Okay. Ayan. And the business academic approach to classroom management was developed by Everson and Emmer. The emphasis was on the organization and management of students as they engage in academic work. Ayan. As they engage in academic approach. Everson and Emmer divide organizing and managing student work into 3 major categories, like establishments and communication of work assignments, standards and procedures, and monitoring of student work and feedback. That is academic approach to classroom management. Okay, another one. What is the significance of a 0.5 facility index? Answer now, 0.5. Madaling hulaan yan. What is the significance of a 0.5 facility index? Facility index or difficulty index? Gaano siya kadali or gaano siya kahirap? Difficulty index. DF. Am I talking French here? Ako lang ba nakakaintindi ng mga sinasabi ko? Nor, Emeline, your answer is B. Yes, nakalata naman maski hindi mo alam na 0.5. Ano is moderate? Okay. So this is your item analysis. Do you need to memorize this? If you still have the time, memorize this during the process of item analysis. Okay. If your computed difficulty index is 0 to 0.25, the item is difficult, revise, or discard it. If your difficulty index or facility index is 0.26 to 0.75, nandyan sa gitna niya yung 0.5, it is right difficulty or moderate, the answer is retain. If your computed difficulty index is 0.76, then your answer is either, then your item, your question is easy. Either you revise it kung mas mataas pa sa 0.76, halimbawa 0.95, discard it. Hindi siya makaka-discriminate dahil siguro napakadali ng tanong. That is how you interpret your difficulty index or facility index. The easier the item, the easier the item, the closer the difficulty index to 1. The farther the difficulty index from 1, which is 0.25, the more difficult the item. Sakto lang ang 0.26 to 0.75, retain. Okay. Sa item analysis yan ha. Tapos, okay, 1. Which facilities are present in a health, answer ha? Sumagot kayo. Pag hindi kayo sumagot, ititigil ko na kasi okay na ako tapos na yung dalawang set, no? Okay. Okay, which facilities are present in a health promoting and school environment? Answer, the answer is pen color. Canteen that sells all kind of junk food, no? Comfort rooms, common for boys, common. The answer is no. Sanitary drinking fountains, yes. Safe playground, yes. Okay. Next, which physical school environment supports learning? A, availability of flexible classroom furniture, presence of spacious classrooms, prominence of bulletin boards in every building, tall school buildings. Which physical environment supports learning? One, the answer is I2. A, may B. Yes, the answer is what is progressive curriculum? Sige, tanungin niyo ako. Ano ang characteristics ng progressive curriculum? And what do you think a progressive classroom should look like? Learning by doing, ano pa? Ano dapat ang klase ng physical environment ng isang classroom na ganito? Yes, Nor Ameline. Flexible. Answer is availability of flexible classroom furniture. If your intention of your intended learning outcomes would necessitate row by row na ganyan, edi pwede. Tapos kung hindi naman kailangan mo ng groupings naman, bilog-bilog, pwedeng i-rearrange ang mga furniture, di ba? Ayan. So dapat flexible. Okay. Kasi kung traditional ka, di lagi ka lang nakaganyan. Lecture. Ayan. That is your arrangement. Pwede rin nga, pag progressive ka, pwedeng paganyan. Ayan. Pwedeng ganito. Pwede rin yung ganyan. Pwede rin sa labas ng classroom. Ayan, sa labas. Doon, sa labas. So, iba-iba. Dapat very flexible yung mga furniture. So you can move about. You're free to move about whatever your strategy is. A 14-year-old felt ignored by her crush. Anong sagot natin dito? Nasagutan na natin to. She believes she is her one true love. So she is crying incessantly and refuses to listen and accept sound advice that the teacher is offering her. Her refusal to accept is because 3. Answer 3. Yes, that is correct. She thinks what she feels is too special. Next, for a preschool teacher is thinking about how best to develop the fine motor skills of the 4-year-olds. Which of the following should be best to consider? The answer? Yes, the answer is D. Next, focusing on natural consequences of students' behavior, develop more self-regulation in the students. Which of the following teacher statements demonstrates focusing on natural consequences? Kindly read silently ang options sa kasi masakit yung boses ko. And then write your answer. Yes, the answer is B. Correct. 5. Learners are more likely to internalize and follow classroom rules when the teacher clearly explains the rules she prepared. The learners know the punishment for not following the rules. The learners participate in the rule-making process. The teacher gives additional points for those who follow the rules. Answer. The answer is yes, that is correct. The learners participate in the rule-making process. 7. For a teacher to establish and maintain consistent standards of learners' behavior, they should do all except give immediate feedback to reinforce appropriate behavior of learners, be open to exceptions each time a learner misbehaves in class, communicate and enforce school policies and procedures clearly and consistently, handle behavior problems promptly and with due respect to learners' rights. Ayan. For a teacher to establish and maintain consistent standards of learners' behavior, they should do all except. Tingnan ng except. Answer, yes, that is correct. The answer is B. Be open to exceptions. Hindi dapat consistent, no? Dapat consistent ka. Next, which statement on student diversity is correct? Which statement on student diversity is correct? Teacher must do his or her best to reduce student diversity in class. The less diversity of students in class, the better for teachers and students. Teachers should accept and value the diversity. Student diversity is purely due to students' varied cultures. Yes, that is correct. The answer is C. Next is, this is not in your, pag walang number, teachers, nakita nyo walang number, wala siya sa inyong item, no? Sa inyong papel. Which student thinking behavior indicates that he or she values diversity? Sinama ko na lang siya. He or she regards his culture as superior to others' culture. He or she regards his culture as inferior to others' culture. He or she accepts the fact that all people are unique in their own way. He or she emphasizes on the differences among people and disregards their commonalities. Answer here is yes, that is correct. The answer is C. 9. What is a teaching learning implication of student diversity? Read the options. Compare students, make use of a variety of teaching and assessment methods and activities, do homogeneous grouping for group activities, develop different standards for different student groups. 9. Yes, that is correct. 10. Read the following comments by the teacher. Which of these comments will most likely make a child try harder rather than give up? Ten. Micah, ano ba to? Nona C, Zim D, Micah C, Lina D, answer? Nasaan na iba? Then Princess D. So usually it's D or C, no? It's D or C. The correct answer is ano? Read the following comments by the teacher. Which of these comments will most likely make a child try harder? Try harder rather than give up. Yes, that is correct. The answer is C. Nakikita ko na kailangan mong maglaan ng mas mahabang panahon sa paksang ito para lubos mong maunawaan ito. Okay. Next. 10. Which of the following demonstrates differentiated instruction? The teacher groups the learners by their ability level and makes the groups work with the same topic, but assigns a different task appropriate for each group to accomplish. Okay, the teacher divides the class into 3 heterogeneous groups and assigns the same activity for each group to work on. C, the teacher groups the learners by their ability level and assigns different content topics for the groups to work on. D, the teacher groups the learners by ability levels and assigns each group a different task on the same topic, and then requests 3 different teachers, each to assess one of the groups. Answer, 11. Micah C. Nor A. Nor A. Nona A. Okay. The answer is A. 12. Which practice gives primary consideration to individual differences? Natanong na to dun sa test 1. Allowing children to show that they learn the stages of my choices in the way they feel most comfortable. Answer? Nasagot na to natin to nung Monday. 12. Answer number 12. It's 3 p.m. Ma'am. You will continue after the break. Pakisagutan teachers no yung mga copies niya. And already answered this, and the answer is A. 113. Which are most likely the kind of children raised by authoritarian parents? Are they fearful, inhibited, hostile, withdrawn? Answer. Yes, the answer is 1, 2, 3, 4, all of the above. There are different kinds. According to Baumrand, yung styles of parenting, we have authoritarian parenting. The authoritarian prefers, parents are often taught as disciplinarians. They use a strict discipline style with little negotiation possible, and punishment is common. We're all familiar with this. I'm familiar with this. ang aking ama ay authoritarian, which is not really an ideal style of parenting. Communication is mostly one way from parent to child. Rules usually are not explained. And then parents with this style are typically less nurturing. Hindi naman, nurturing naman yung tatay ko. But more nurturing ang nanay ko. Kasi tatay ko sundalo. Expectations are high with limited flexibility. So that is authoritarian. Is that an ideal style of parenting? No, it's not. It's not. Maski sa gobyerno, hindi rin maganda yan. How about permissive? Permissive or indulgent parents mostly let their children do what they want and offer limited guidance or direction. Usually, ang mga ibang lahi, ganyan. They are more like friends and parents than parents. Their discipline style is the opposite of strict. They have limited or no rules and mostly let children figure out their problems on their own. I don't know about this. I don't think this will fit our culture. But most of the parents now, even Filipinos, are permissive. Communication is open, but these parents let children decide for themselves rather than giving directions. Parents in this category tend to be warm and nurturing. Expectations are typically minimal or not set by these parents. Ang mga, kung anong gusto nila, sige, ganun tayo. Ito, meron na mga ganito ngayon na Pilipino. Ganito ba ako as a parent? At her age now, yes, pero before hindi. Next, uninvolved parenting. Uninvolved parents give children a lot of freedom and generally stay out of their way. Some parents may make a conscious decision to parent in this way, while others are less interested in parenting or unsure of what to do. No particular discipline style is utilized. An uninvolved parent lets a child mostly do what he wants, probably out of lack of information or caring, or hindi lang talaga siya. Hindi niya feel maging magulang. Communication is limited. This group of parents offers little nurturing. And there are few or no expectations of children. Usually, ito sa mga magulang na nasa masyadong involved sa trabaho or sa negosyo. Usually, ganun yung mga uninvolved parenting. Parang walang pake, sabi niya. And then authoritative. This is the ideal parenting style. It's a healthy balance between being permissive and authoritarian. And authoritative parents are reasonable and nurturing and set high, clear expectations. Children with parents who demonstrate this style tend to be self-disciplined and think for themselves. This style is thought to be the most beneficial to children. Disciplinary rules are clear and the reason behind them are explained. Communication is frequent and appropriate to child's level of understanding. And authoritative parents are nurturing. Expectations and goals are high but stated clearly. Children may have input into the goals. These different styles of parenting can also be different teaching styles. Kaya, yan. So if you are teachers, we need to be the authoritative teachers. This is the ideal teaching style, authoritative. It's between authoritarian and permissive. Of course, hindi maganda yung authoritarian. Hindi yan. Dati noong panahon ng Kastila, yes. Pero ngayon, hindi na. Very strict ang discipline ng mga yan eh. Tapos, ang permissive naman is no, not yet, especially in the younger ones. So the answer here is D. 14. If a child was raised by authoritative parents, how will most likely he or she behave in class? Relates well to classmates, quarrels often with classmates, is suspicious of others, has low level of independence. Answer 14. Authoritative, good, authoritarian, bad. Okay. The answer is A. It's correct. 15. Which parenting style contributes to the development of children who have low level of responsibility? Contributes or contribute to the development of children who have low level of responsibility. What is your answer? 15. Vanessa, welcome back. Vanessa is A. Who else? Answer 15 is D, sabi ni Josel. Zim D. Micah A. What's the answer? Irene is A. The correct answer is D, neglecting and permissive. It's neglecting and permissive. Okay, 16. Teacher Rose believes that students need to know the intended learning outcomes of her lesson. She proceeds to her learning activities at once without letting them know what they are supposed to do to learn for the day. Which principle of learning does Teacher Rose negate? 16. Pwedeng pakagat ng pizza. Pakagat ng pizza. Yes, that is correct. The answer is A. Effective. These are the time-tested principles. I'm sorry. Time-tested principles of learning. Next, Teacher Emma. Sorry, nahilinan ako sa pizza. Teacher Emma noticed that in a group work, students just leave the work to the leader and so would vow never to give group work again. Against which principle of learning is Teacher Emma's decision? It's correct. The answer is C. 18. In her desire to finish the content of the course syllabus, Teacher Love just lectures while students listen. Which principle of learning does Teacher Love violate? Answer 18. Just listens. The children just listens. The correct answer is D. Yes, the correct answer is D. Learning is an active process kasi ang ginagawa ni Teacher Love is passive lang, no? Passive learning. Parang this is very much, ano ba? Anong mga concepts ang pwede natin ilagay dito sa paraan ni teacher? Nag-talk lang, walang interaction sa stud. So ano siya? Passive learning. Ano pa? Ano pa mga concept ang pwede natin i-relate dito? Passive learning.
Teacher-centered.
Yes, teacher-centered. Teacher-centered. Ano pa? Lecture method. Correct, Jamaida. Lecture, yes. Ano pa?
Demonstration method po.
Lecture lang to teacher, iba naman ng demonstration. The demonstration method is you show and you tell.
Direct teaching.
Sage on the stage, yes. Sage on the stage. What else?
Direct.
Direct instruction, behaviorism, tabula rasa, ano, mga ganyan, di ba? Subject-centered. Parang nangingintabi yung ulo ko sa nilagay ko na liniment. Okay. Amoy ano bang tawag sa yan? Sabi ng anak ko is para daw home for the aged. Aromatherapies. Okay, the answer here is, yan ang mga lecture, passive, teacher-centered, passive, yan, passive learning. So, ibig sabihin, ang passive, opposite siya ng active. Teacher-centered, learner-centered. 18. Teacher Ariel asks her students to see the connection of their new lesson to their own personal experiences and share the same with the class. Teacher believes in which principle of learning? 19. Yes, correct. The answer is D. Learning is the discovery of the personal meaning of ideas. Next, Teacher Lil avoids out of context, drills out of context. She gives real-world math problems for students to drill on. Teacher Lil is very much convinced of which principle of learning. Learning is an active process. Learning is the discovery of the personal meaning of ideas. Learning is a cooperative and collaborative process. Effective learning begins with clear expectations. What is your answer? Yes, you are correct. The answer is... Isa pa lang pala sumasagot sa yes, you are correct. And so that's number 20. Yes, you are correct. The answer is B. No, the answer is B. Learning is the discovery of the personal meaning of ideas. Mali ang daliri niyan. Okay. Next, for meaningful teaching and learning, it is best to connect the lesson to the life of students by integrating a relevant value in the lesson. Which principle is applied? For meaningful teaching and learning, it is best to connect the lesson to the life of students by integrating a relevant value in the lesson. Which principle is applied? 21. Yes, that is correct. Dapat daw may value, kaya ang intended, ang objectives mo should integrate two or three domains. Cognitive, skill, and effective, nandun yung tatlo, or cognitive and effective, or skill and effective, laging nandun yung affective. Laging nandun yung affective. Okay. Next. Teacher Pa shared this lesson objective or learning outcome with her students. Before the period ends, all of you must be able to identify the topic sentence and supporting sentences of a given paragraph. Teacher Pass drilled them on subject-verb agreement to ensure that they can write a good paragraph, then gave a 10-sentence paragraph for the student to determine subject-verb agreement before the class period ended. Did Teacher Pass use the lesson objective or learning outcome as guide in the development of lesson? I will ask you to explain this. Is it yes, no, a little, because subject-verb agreement is a must in a paragraph writing? Very much, because she made use of a 10-sentence paragraph for the end of the period quiz. Nor Ameline, kindly explain your answer. Why no? Babang ako'y kumakain ng aking merienda. Bakit no? Nor Ameline.
Ang di-identify ni teacher kay to identify the topic sentence. Tapos nagpa-drill siya is subject verb, so hindi siya connected to each other. Topic sentence, then nagdiretso siya sa subject verb agreement.
Tapos, nag-focus siya sa subject-verb agreement. Ano? Ang gusto niya sana niya, identify the topic, sentence. Ibig sabihin, hindi valid yung kanyang assessment method. Ano ma'am? So the answer is no. Yes. Okay, 23. Thank you very much, Ma'am Nor. Talagang pasado na si Ma'am Nor, no? Naamoy ko si Ma'am Nor hanggang dito, papasa. Okay, here is a lesson objective. At anong major mo, Ma'am Nor?
PLE, ma'am.
Nag-message ka na ba sa akin?
Wala pa, ma'am.
Mag-message ka. Here is a
Sa
lesson.
FB po?
Sa Messenger. Here is a lesson objective. At the end of the lesson, the students must be able to develop a positive attitude towards work. Is this a SMART objective? At the end of the lesson, the students must be able to develop a positive attitude towards work. Is this a SMART objective? Answer? C, no, not at all. Develop is a non-behavioral term. Develop. It is not measurable. It is not specific. Okay. Teacher Ruben wanted his students to rate their own work according to the scoring rubric. Work using the scoring rubric, which he explained to the class before the students began with their task. Based on revised Bloom's taxonomy, in which level of cognitive processing are the students? Sinagot na natin to kahapon. The answer is to rate that it is evaluating. Okay, 25. You are required to formulate your own, alam na natin to, teachers, di ba? You are required to formulate your own philosophy of education in the course, the teaching profession. Based on Bloom's revised taxonomy, in which level of cognitive processing are you? You are correct, teachers. It is creative. 26. Teacher Bing encourages her students to make the intended learning outcome their own and explained that she expected them to monitor now and then their own progress toward the intended learning outcome and act accordingly. In which level of processing will Teacher Bing's students act? Answer? 26. Monitor. Ano sagot? The answer is 26. The answer. Ba't si Zim lang ang sumasagot? Correct. The answer is meta-cognitive system. Next. Teacher Anne sees to it that her class sees the importance of the grammar lessons in English and so gets intrinsically motivated to learn. In which level of processing is the class expected to ask? 27. Teachers, ang 26, I see. May kasi siya. Ayun yung word, Zim, bakit biyan sagot mo ayun yung monitor. Ibig sabihin, you're conscious of your own thinking. Ito namang isa. Teacher answers to it that her class is the importance of the grammar lessons in English and so gets intrinsically motivated to learn. In which level of processing is the class expected? 27. May ka lang ang sumasagot? You're correct. The answer, ito na yung self-system. Ano po? Yun ang self-system. Keywords intrinsically motivated. No, Zin. It is C. Self-system. Okay. Yung kanina, yun ang metacognitive to monitor. Okay, 28. Teacher Mylene talked all period. She taught the class the steps to undertake in the conduct of an action research. She also showed a poorly done action research, discussed why it is poorly done, and finally showed a model action research. Which teaching approach describes Teacher Mylene's lesson development? Was Teacher Mylene's approach learner-centered? Yes, she taught for all learners. Yes, she made things easy for the learners. No, she was more subject matter centered than teacher centered. And then no, because her subject matter was highly technical. The answer is C. No, she was more subject matter centered. 29. Teacher Dada's lesson was on what men can do to arrest climate change. She made students do the talking, the arguing, the synthesizing. She gave her lecture after students have participated in the lively discussion. Which teaching approach did teacher Dada employ? 29. 29, A. Yes, the correct answer is A. Learner-centered approach. That is correct. In this FS course, FS students are required to observe, analyze, and reflect on actual class proceedings, which description of the pedagogical approach to K-12 as cited in the K-12 law is observed in the conduct of this FS course. Developmentally appropriate, constructivist, reflective, inquiry-based. Lahat sila progressivism. Sige. What is correct? The answer is reflective. The answer is reflective. Mali lang yung daliri. The answer is reflective. 30C, reflective. 31. Teacher Beth avoids giving out of context drills. Instead, she makes use of real-world problems for her students to solve. Doing so makes Teacher Beth's approach, Teacher Beth blank in approach. Teacher Beth avoids giving out of context drills. Instead, she makes use of real-world problems for her students to solve. Doing so makes Teacher Beth blank in approach. Answer is, yes, you are correct, constructivist. 31. The subject matter is the Asian Qualifications Framework, or AQRF. The Asian history teacher teams up with the economics teacher, the professional education teacher for the Asian history teacher teams up with the economics teacher, the Prof Ed teacher for a thorough discussion of AQRF, which from the perspective of other disciplines, which describes the Asian history teacher pedagogical approach. 32. You're correct. The answer is integrated. Okay. An integrated approach allows learners to explore, gather, process, refine, and present information about topics they want to investigate without the constraints imposed by traditional subject barriers. An integrated approach allows students to engage in purposeful, relevant learning. Integrated learning encourages the students to see the interconnectedness and interrelationships between the curriculum areas. Rather than focusing on learning in isolated curriculum areas, an integrated program is based on skill development around a particular theme that is relevant to the children in the class. That is the integrated approach. Next. Kami sinasabi. Integral to the model of integrated learning is the inquiry approach. Students are active learners who research, interpret, communicate, and process learning to both others and themselves. Inquiry approaches allow for students to construct meaning using their prior knowledge on the subject and new knowledge gained during the learning process. Next, the spiral progression approach in teaching math in the K-12 curriculum means that you teach basic math concepts from K to grade 10 and increasing depth and breadth across and breathe across the grades. This means that math teaching is 33. Answer 33, Vanessa C, Micah C, Odessa C. Jefferson A, MSU, si Ma'am Juliet A. Others. City Ken Rose Alip A. What's the answer? Is it A or C? Vanessa, explain your answer. Explain ko naman si Ma'am Juliet. Juliet, explain your answer. Vanessa, explain your answer. Your answer is C? Si Vanessa. O kaya si Odessa. Maski sino sa mga C, pwede maka-explain? Unmute your microphone. And then mga A, si City ang mag-explain ng A. Mamang yo, Vanessa, Odessa, Juliet, Ma'am Juliet, we will explain. Micah, all of you answered C. Mga A. No, mic din po kasi unstable po internet namin. So, sino kayo? Odessa, may mic yan si Odessa. Explain your answer. Explain, wala? O, A. Sino mag-explain sa A? Cannot use mic din. Ay, nako, pag teacher na kahit may trabaho na kaya ayusin yung pag bumili kayo ng maayos na microphone. Sino mag-explain? Sino ang may maayos na mic? Paki-explain nga para naman kami ay maliwanagan sa inyong mga sagot. Jefferson, ang sagot mo ay A. Why A?
Ma'am, try ko, ma'am.
Sino yan?
Si Juliet po.
Si Ma'am Juliet. Maliwanagan ng mga bata.
Di ba, kindergarten to grade 12. So even during early childhood, the concepts will be introduced in mathematics. And then it will go up to grade 1, then 2, then until K-12. So developmentally appropriate. So the word is development. Keyword.
Yes, increasing breadth. So pag grade 1, kinder, madali-dali lang, di ba? And then pag mahirap na, di ba, increasing depth and breadth.
Yes, ma'am.
Breathe. Yes. Ma'am Juliet, get your license.
Already renewed po.
The answer is A. Or pwede din po, ano si Vanessa, or pwede din po. Hindi pwedeng, pwede din po. The answer is A. The correct answer is A. Ano bang ibig sabihin ng inclusive?
Inclusive po, ma'am. Usually yung mga children na merong special and inclusive needs kasama dun sa regular classroom.
Yes, diversity of learners. Nandun yan sa pang anong domain, yung mga diverse na sa diversity of learners.
Yes, ma'am. Diversity.
Oo, na wala tayong dinidiscriminate based from their gender, religion, socioeconomic status, culture, etc. etc. Ibig sabihin ng inclusivity is education for all.
Meron din mention si Vanessa dito, ma'am, spiral from easy to hard.
Yes, spiral. Kaya nga K-12 is easy to hard. Yan ay developmentally appropriate. Actually, ang K-12 curriculum is rooted on Bruner's discovery learning. Ayan siya.
Sige po.
Vanessa, mali yung explanation mo na inclusive po kasi inclusive for math lang. Po, throughout the curriculum, you mean exclusive. Mali ang interpretation ni Vanessa ng inclusive. You mean exclusive. And the K-12 curriculum is inclusive, it's not exclusive. Kasi pag exclusive, meron kang meron kang mga groupings na pinapaboran. Para bang exclusive schools only for the boys, exclusive schools only for the girls, exclusive Catholic schools, etc. Next. Iba ang iba yung ibig mong sabihin, Vanessa. Yes. And it is developmentally appropriate. What is developmentally appropriate? So that is an approach to early childhood education. That is developmentally appropriate. That means teachers meet individual children where they are and help them reach challenging but achievable goals that will support their development and learning. Challenging but achievable. Effective early childhood educators understand that knowledge must inform decision-making. Para sa mga teachers yan, no, and may inform tayo. Goals must be challenging and achievable. Teaching must be intentional to be effective. Making decisions in a depth way, teachers make decisions with the following key points in mind: age appropriateness, individual appropriateness, and social and cultural appropriateness. Kaya nga, dahan-dahan, kaya dapat appropriate. Next, ano pa? Yan, sige. 34. Teacher Ann demonstrated the deductive method of teaching in her English class. Based on her teaching demo, she asked the class to outline the steps of a deductive teaching method. The students' outline served as the starting point of the class discussion on the steps of the deductive method. Did Teacher Ann go deductive? Odessa C, Vanessa A, Odessa, yes, you went deductive. Teacher Ann demonstrated the deductive method. So deductive method is from general to specific. Yan ang gusto niya, no? Rule egg. Rule. Yan, rule. Yan ang deductive rule to E, G. Pages examples given. Teacher Ann demonstrated the deductive method of teaching in her English class. Based on her teaching demo, she asked the class to outline the steps. Step 1, step 2, step 3. The students' outlines serve as the starting point. So yung outline na yan serve as the starting point of the class discussion on what a deductive method is. Did Teacher Ann go deductive? The answer is no. She went inductive. Kasi nag-ano siya sa mga instances, no? Ayan. Before, na-decide nila nung, ano ba ang deductive method? Yun ang huli. Yung concept ng deductive method. Next, so what is deductive method? A deductive approach to instruction is a more teacher-centered approach. This means that the teacher gives the students a new concept, explains it, and then has the students practice using the concept. It is also called a deductive instruction. Teacher-centered. Next, the deductive approach is a teacher-dominated. It begins with abstract rule, generalization, principle, and ends with specific examples and concrete details. Next, Teacher Rodell said, this is the rule on how to multiply fractions. To illustrate, let's give examples. Then he gave fractions to the class for them to multiply. How did Teacher Rodell proceed? 35. Aha, 35. Ano ang mga sagot? Bakit may mga sumagot na mali? Zim, ano yung sagot mo, Zim? Micah, what is your answer? Walang mga ganyan sagot, Micah, yung deductively, then inductively. Walang ganyan namang active. Waling daliri. The answer is deductively, B. Now, this is the rule on how to multiply fractions. Ayan. Tapos, rule, di ba? And then, it's rule. And then, nagbigay siya ng example. So, ano yun? Di ba deductive siya? So, the answer is deductively. Mali ang daliring yan. Okay? The answer is deductively. Next. It is less interactive and requires relatively short period of time to cover content. Which of the teaching method is described? The answer is C, deductive method. 37. When you began teaching with a generalization, then brings in details, which method do you employ? So deductive, inductive lang itong mga tanong. Ano sagot? Yes, deductive. When you begin teaching with a concrete naman, concrete experience, then come in with conclusions, which method do you employ? Yes, you are correct. The answer is, walang number to. The answer is C. 38. Learning is an active process. Which one is an application of this? Okay, answer. Correct. The answer is A. Next. The more senses that are involved, alam na natin to teachers, ang sagot dito ay D, field trip. 39 is field trip. Walang number. A non-threatening atmosphere enhances learning. Which practice is an offshoot of this principle? Answer? Anong no praising, Vanessa? Sim, ano yan? A non-threatening atmosphere enhances learning. Which practice is an offshoot of this principle? The answer is no bullying. Ano ba yung si Vanessa? No praising daw. Si Sim naman, no scolding. May mga teacher din kasing bully. Okay. Vanessa, wag kang tumawa kasi 1 point yan. Sayang. Kung number 1 ka, number 2 ka na lang. Sige. Okay, number 40. Emotion has the power to increase retention and learning. To apply this principle, teacher must spice class with his or her sense of humor, make course difficult for students to remember and learn, touch students' emotion when he or she teaches, be emotional. Answer here is C. Natasagot na natin to, no? 41. Good teaching goes beyond recall of information. So what must the teacher do? Answer? 41. Yes, the correct answer is D. 42. Learning is meaningful when it is connected to students' everyday life. What is an application of this principle in teaching? (42) is A. An integrated teaching approach is far more effective than teaching isolated bits of information. What then should teacher avoid? Teaching to the test, knowledge utilization, summarizing lesson, use of problem solving. Which should avoid? Next, the answer is A. 44. Teacher Jean proceeded to her lesson without stating the intended learning outcomes for the hour. She asked her students to work on Sit Work 3, number 3, found in the math workbook, page 3 to 4. After 40 minutes, the students corrected their own answers as Teacher Jane dictated the answer. Very familiar. Ano ang tanong? Was the development of the lesson in accordance with outcomes-based teaching and learning? The answer is no. The answer is no. The learning outcomes were not stated, and so it was not clear what was supposed to be assessed. May nababasa. Okay. Ang CHED memo number 46 years of 2012 mandates outcome-based education. Pakitandaan, baka itanong yan ha. Obe yan. Next, 45. What is OBE, OBTL, outcome-based education or outcome-based teaching and learning? What is OBE in Teacher Jing's class? The answer is none at all. 45. If Teacher Jing develops lesson the OBTL way, what should she do? Vanessa, that is correct. The answer is A, yes. In OBTL, upon should my assessment be based? Content, intended learning outcome, scope of subject matter, teaching and learning activity. Answer now, 47. The answer is B, yes. So, ayan ang ibig sabihin ng OBE. Ito yung OBE is an approach. This is the paradigm, no? Identifying desired outcomes, 1. 2 is deciding on the strategies, and 3 is assessment. Assessment, each of this is an integral part of the OBE approach. What are these? These are the learning principles of OBE according to Spady. 1 is, ang OBE daw has clarity of focus. Teachers must begin with the end clearly in the mind. Be clearly focused on what they want the students to do, know, understand, and be able to do. Should focus on helping the students to develop the knowledge and skills that will enable them to achieve the articulated intended learning outcomes. Yan ang clarity. Malinaw ang focus ng OBE. Designing down meaning once the intended outcomes are clear, teachers now design instruction. And then high expectations. Baka kasi tanong, alin dito yung mga characteristics ng OBE? Alin dyan yung ibig sabihin na teachers should establish high challenging standards of performance. Ang sagot dyan is setting high expectations. So clarity of focus, designing down, high expectations, expanded opportunities. Give me the keywords. Expanded opportunities. Keywords. Keywords, number 4. Ano yung probing, Vanessa? Yes, Jefferson, education for all, opportunities for all, education for all. Ano pa? Wala tayong 40. 47 pa lang tayo, ha? Ano pa? Extended opportunities. Education for all. So, if ano pa? Kanina may sinabi tayo diyang salita. Ano pa? Scholarship. May sinabi tayo kanina to describe this, yung education for all, meaning the K-12 curriculum is
Inclusive po.
Yes. Yes. Okay, inclusive. So, ano bang meaning of outcomes? These are the clear learning results that learners have to demonstrate what learners can actually do with what they know and have learned. These are actions, products, performances that embody and reflect a learner's competence in using content, information, ideals, and tools successfully. Pakiintindi ang OBE dahil maraming din yan sa LET. Culminating with a demonstration of learning, not curriculum content. So kailangan, kaya nga ang K-12 curriculum is, ano siya? Culminating demonstration of learning, not curriculum content. Kaya ang K-12 curriculum ay, ang assessment natin ay?
Performance-based po.
Correct. Performance-based. Check. Next is summary. Outcome-based education is focused on the outcomes. Outcomes can come in various levels: institutional program, course and learning outcomes, or instructional outcomes. So maliwanag na ang OBE, kaya ano yan? What are the teaching approaches of the subjects in the K-12 curriculum? The K-12 curriculum is learner-centered. We already know what learner-centered means. It is inclusive. Ayan, yung kanina. Means that no student is excluded. Inclusive, exclusive. Teaching is for all students. Teaching is for all students. Ano ikakabit natin dyan? Di ba? Tapos, expanded opportunities. Regardless of origin, socioeconomic background, gender, ability, no teacher favorites, no outcast, no PROMD. Everyone feels he or she belongs or included. Ayan. Included. Kasama. Included. Next. The K-12 curriculum is developmentally appropriate. Ayan. Bakit siya developmentally appropriate? The task required of students are within their developmental stages. That was clearly explained by Ma'am Juliet kanina. The K-12 curriculum is responsive and relevant, making the teaching more meaningful. How? One relates or connects the lessons to students' daily experiences. When what is taught answers to the questions and concerns of the students. When there is no place for meaningless, mile-wide, inch-deep teaching. Yung basta ma-cover lang, wala namang relevance sa buhay ng bata. Which is nakakalungkot dahil minsan ganyan. No teaching to the test. Yes, no teaching to the test. This does not mean, however, no more tests. It is teaching only for the test that is meaningless, that is referred to here, and therefore you have to avoid it by all means. And the K-12 curriculum is research-based. I wasn't satisfied. Yan, ang sagot daw dyan ay probing, sabi ni Vanessa. I wasn't satisfied with student-based, yes, as an answer, so I asked her to explain why. Which did I do? Answer is your answer. Masagot niyo, hindi ko na makita. Your answer is it probing? 48?
Probing.
Next. Probing questions. These are series of questions which require students to go beyond the first response. Hindi satisfied, no? Nag-probe siya. Subsequent teacher questions are formed on the basis of the student's response. Kaya ang tanong, may sunod pang tanong. Ako, gusto ko yung style na yan. There are different types of probing questions. One is clarifying. What exactly do you mean? Yan ang tanong ni teacher. Will you please rephrase your statement? Could you elaborate on that point? What did you mean by the term? Yes. And then, increasing critical awareness. What are you assuming? What are your reasons for thinking that is so? Is that all there is to it? Ito yung mga critical awareness na probing questions. Refocusing. If this is true, what are the implications for refocusing? Prompting. Prompting is I cannot accept an incorrect answer. So you do prompting. Prompting is parang mga clues. Ayan. Redirecting to another student. Lumalabas yan sa LED. What is the theme of Hemingway's Old Man and the Sea? Sabi ni Sam, it's about an old man's courage in catching a fish. Mary, do you agree? Iba naman ang tinawag niya. Or Mary, do you think it's that simple? Redirecting. Teacher, let is a claim sheet. Ito na. Teacher Leticia claims she can't accept an I don't know answer. So she does prompting. Mali yan. So she does prompting. Ayan. Okay, next, 50. To obtain well-thought-out answers, which questioning behavior helps? Nasagutan na natin to kahapon. Answer is, yes, you are correct. Allowing sufficient time or wait sa. Wait sa. Next, this is my questioning behavior. I ask a question, I pause for a while, then call on a student. Which is this questioning practice? Answer? The answer is pwedeng C, pwedeng D, no? But my answer is, this is my questioning behavior. I ask a question, I pause for a while, then call on a student. The answer is C, directing a question. Call on a student. Involving as many as possible is when you, yes, could be, pero involving as many as possible is by asking divergent questions. Next, you get a partially correct answer. You say yes, but the part needs improvement. How did you handle the response? Provide a corrective feedback, provided an acceptance feedback. Gave appropriate praise, criticized students' response. Sabi ni Vanessa, doon daw sa pinag-reviewhan niya, acceptance feedback yan. The answer is A, provided a corrective feedback. The answer is A, provided a corrective feedback. If your answer is different from our answer, it's up to you dahil malaki na kayo. In the end, kayo naman ang sasagot ng inyong test. Okay? Next. A question is raised by one student. You don't answer it but throw back the question to the class. Which is this reacting behavior? A question is raised by one student. You don't answer it but throw back the questions to the class. Which is the reacting behavior? Yes, that is correct. The answer is A. 54. Oh, pero dito, I'm not representing my review center. I'm representing myself. Okay, all the responsibilities of the Learning Resource Audiovisual Educational Technology Center of a school except. The answer is D, accomplish the students' technology project for them. The Learning Resource Audiovisual Educational Technology Center regularly provides the teachers a list of websites, apps, and instructional materials available in the city which are relevant to the different subjects they teach. This fulfills which function? 55. Is correct. The answer is B. The Learning Resource Audiovisual Educational Technology Center sponsors a seminar workshop for teachers and administrators on the use of the latest presenter applications. This fulfills which function? The answer is 56. Ano sagot niyo sa 56? The answer is A, Center of Resources. Next, 57. In order for students to clearly understand the structure and content of the teacher's presentation, the teacher should have? Sagot, 57. That's correct. 58. Miss Traya is preparing slides for her lesson demonstration, which she remembers to apply the rule of 6. What is the rule of 6? Rule of 6, 58 is C. 59. Miss Riel is very excited to do her presentation about the effects of global warming to grade 5 students. She wants to make sure the children will be interested. While preparing his slides, she should answer. 59. Yes, that is correct. That is B. 60. Miss Mosqueda is planning a technology integration in her science lesson on states of matter. She's applying her pedagogical knowledge when she, sige, read the options silently. Ano ba ang pinaplan niya? Technology integration. Okay, 60. How about the others? Ikaw, Odessa, anong sagot mo dito? Si Zimby. Odessa A. Yan bang sagot niya sa review center niyo? Odessa, Vanessa, A bang sagot niyo? Ms. Mosqueda is planning technology integration in her science lesson on states of matter. Technology integration. She is applying her pedagogical knowledge. Tama, sige, pedagogical knowledge. Answer. Si Vanessa. Lahat naman yan technology integration. Pero ano yung gusto niya? Science of pedagogical knowledge. Pedagogical knowledge. Okay. Huwag kayo. Kung alam niyo na, pilagay niyo tama kayo. Palitan yan, ha? Pedagogical knowledge. So, ano ibig sabihin? Paano magturo? Paano ang magturo? So, the answer is A. To Jefferson City. Okay. Next. Pedagogical knowledge is the art of teaching. Miss Pelayo is planning, again, technology integration in his social studies lesson. He is applying his content knowledge naman. Kanina pedagogical knowledge naman is content knowledge. Answer. Technology integration, pedagogical knowledge, technology integration, applying content knowledge. Ano naman to? The answer is information. The answer is B. Okay. Next. Mrs. Torre is implementing a technology integration activity for grade 4, for fourth graders to work on the multiplication of two-digit numbers. Which of the following illustrates the interaction of the teacher's technological, pedagogical, and content knowledge? Ayan, sige, sagot. Okay, let us identify. C daw. Kasi alin dito ang technical knowledge? Sa C.
Yung demonstrate how
Apps,
apps are
application.
used po.
Okay. Alin dito ang pedagogical knowledge?
Evaluates math apps and application.
Yeah.
Demonstrates how the apps are used.
Ano? Demonstrate how the apps are used. Ano to? Matches them with their student skill. Demonstrates how the apps are used.
Allow your students to explore
And work on the apps. Alin dyan? Alin dyan ang technological knowledge? Technological, pedagogical, and content knowledge. Yung matches them with their student skill level is pedagogical knowledge. Tama ba?
Yes, ma'am.
How the apps are used.
That's content, ma'am.
Evaluates math apps.
Technological, ma'am.
Next. A researcher uses a PowerPoint presentation to show the classification in kingdom Animalia. The teacher then teaches them how to use software making graphic organizers. Students then use this to create their own graphic organizers. Graphic organizers. What is your answer? Is your answer? Saan ang sagot niyo? Answer?
B, ma'am.
B. Yes, the answer is D. Okay. Next, the teacher demonstrates how to work with a math app that provides practice in adding mixed fractions. Anong sagot niyo dito? This one is N3 active. Ito. May tinanong na kahapon ito, di ba? Kahapon grade 9. Ngayon grade 7. And then, saan sila? Campuses in Visayas and Mindanao. Tapos, nag-upload sila sa social media. Anong sagot nito? Dapat merong word na transformation. Okay. So, answer is transformation. 66, Mrs. Inton is evaluating a website for her literature class. She is making sure that factual pieces of information found on the site are well documented and pictures and diagrams are properly labeled. She is also checking that there is no misspelled error. So, ano sagot dito? No misspelled words. The answer is accuracy. Miss Castro is evaluating an early literacy app for her kindergartners. Make sure that it is uncluttered in appearance, is arranged in some order of difficulty, and that icons represent what they were intended to represent. Which criterion is she focusing on?
Organization.
Yes. You know, teachers, these questions are from your field study books. Napansin niyo ba? Galing to sa field study. Alam niyo ba yan? Yes or no? So, titigil ko na siya. Yes, lahat siya ay nasa field study book. Encounter niyo na ba yan? Nasagutan niyo na to, teachers?
Parang wala pa po.
Ito po, ma'am.
Sige. I have the material for this na, pero if you still have time. Pero hindi ko alam kung meron akong answer key, no? Sagutan na lang natin yan. Huwag din ako hinga ng answer key mamaya kasi may iba pa akong gagawin. I just answer this if I can find the answer key, sige. Pero if not, iganan lang natin na answer orally as fast as you can kasi it's almost 5. Sige daw, answer, continuing professional growth. Next. Take oral. Sabihin nyo na lang, hindi na ako magbabasa. If you want to answer orally, then say the answer.
Competency-based.
Next.
Commitment. Delta.
Professional commitment.
Delta po.
Next.
Delta.
Passing of let po.
Okay, next.
Agency integration, coordination.
Answer.
Charlie po. Coordination.
Coordination.
Next.
Roles of discipline, harmony.
Oh, alala. Oh, work.
7.
Students,
Answer.
community.
Unity.
Community. Determination.
Sagutan natin to dati pa.
Delta po, yung budget, priority fiscal allocation.
Next.
Which comes Charlie po, multicultural education.
Yes.
Charlie, Bravo. 11, how can research quality advancement?
Sagot natin to kahapon.
Delta.
B po.
B.
B, very
This is a previous exam. And then yung, except for the Prof Ed, yung Prof Ed3 galing sa Field Studies, yung 1 and 2 galing din sa LET, at saka ito galing din sa LET. And then makikita niyo may mga repetition ng mga items, no? So if you have answered many materials, di ba? Kung mas marami kinasagutan, you will be more familiar with the kind of questions that they ask. Except that yung last time na LET is masyadong bago. Wala daw doon. So, hindi ako naniniwala kasi ang sabi naman ng iba na nakakuha ng mata sa Prof Ed is that if you truly understood the concepts, mas hindi siya ad verbatim or word for word, you will understand the concept kung alam mo, no? Next.
Delta.
Textbook training.
Next.
Which measure practice can involve students, peers.
Liberal management.
Sagot?
Liberal.
Bottom up.
Bottom up yan. Bottom up. Bottom up. Galing sa hindi yung pag top to bottom, galing ka agad sa central office yan. Pag
Tama.
involve yung mga nasa baba.
Parents, students,
Okay.
teachers.
Next.
Level
6.
Ilan? Ilan yan? 6. Ang masteral.
7.
7.
Doctoral.
Ang doctoral 8.
Next.
6, 7, 8. adoption of national language and learning.
C.
Sir,
Delta.
finish answer. In
Letter D.
Communication among diverse. Yeah.
yes. Yeah, may national na. Next. For John Dewey, when does education begin as a social process?
At
Birth.
birth.
Familiar at birth.
Okay, next. Of the following, which states test validity?
Alpha, a valid or Bravo.
Alpha. A.
Alpha.
Alpha, no? A valid test or test.
Okay, the answer is a valid test is a reliable test. A reliable test is not always valid.
Yeah.
Next. Which organization advanced insights on learning to treasure the treasure within for 21st century education?
Delta, International
Letter D.
Commission for the
Chairman yan? Sinang chairman?
21st century. Jacques Delors.
Next. What was stressed by the education curriculum of Spartan education?
Training soldiers,
and
citizen, Delta.
Okay, next. What program is to reduce the gap between low status and educational opportunities for the survey students?
Letter B.
Bravo, familiar. Bravo, Education Service Contracting Act.
Next. How can the learner begin in himself to take the path of living and working together in the 21st century world?
Bravo or Alpha. How can the learner begin in himself to take the path of living and working
English
together?
man.
How can the learner begin in himself?
Find inner peace.
Inner peace.
Gyurot na ako.
How is the contemplative use of mind best characterized?
Rote.
Introspective. Delta.
Introspective.
What principle of moral discernment? Ayan. Alam niyo ba yan? Alam niyo yan. Sige.
Victims decided to jump over against their ability to detect.
Lesser of two evils.
Charlie, principle of lesser of two evils. The Witcher.
Answer. Is it?
C. Letter C.
Ano ba yung evil niya, di ba? Ibig sabihin, dalawang evil, yung isa less evil.
So, doon ka pipili sa less evil.
Alin dyan ang evil? Evil ba yan? Yung iligtas mo yung sarili mo, try to save yourself from the burning building. Is that something evil?
Okay.
What do you think?
Double effect. Principle of double effect.
Ano naman ang double effect?
Double dead pag mo jump.
Double effect is dalawang effect ng iyong act. One is positive, one is negative.
So delta.
Yung fire victim decided to jump over a 10-story building. What? Para hindi siya ma-burn to death. Tama ba?
Yes.
Yes. Pero ano naman yung negative effect nun? Hindi siya nasunog.
Magka-piang-piang siya.
Oo, hindi siya nasunog pero namatay siya. Di ba? So, one positive, nag-jump siya, hindi siya nasunog. Then, bumagsak siya, namatay siya. It's double effect. Ito, what moral principle applies to removal of life-sustaining machines from comatose patients whom doctors can no longer be?
Euthanasia.
Ha?
Parang euthanasia. Lesser evil. Kaysa mag-suffer. Yung euthanasia po, delta.
Anong sakit dyan? Anong sagot?
Lesser deep po.
Lesser evil.
Lesser evil.
Ano ba ibig sabihin yung lesser evil? The patient is suffering. Yes, a comatose patient who is suffering. Tama ba? Palagay ko matagal na, di ba? For a long period of time. If you remove the life-sustaining machine, the patient will no longer suffer, right?
Yes.
Double effect
But
pala.
the patient will die, right?
Effect pa rin.
Double effect. Pala.
Personal.
Positive, negative.
What is material cooperation? Halimbawa, when ano ba to? When a superpower, the United States, apply arms to a certain country, halimbawa to Afghanistan, to fight another country. Ang naglalaban si Afghanistan at saka isa pang bansa, pero merong material cooperation yung Amerika kasi lang nagbigay ng ano, di ba? Maski hindi sila yung nakikipaglaban directly. Ang formal cooperation naman is kasama sila, nag-join sila sa Afghan forces at kasama silang nakipag-away. That is formal cooperation.
74?
Kasi sa lahat, 74.5.
Yan. What is a form of emotional bullying which should be prevented?
Ridiculing, verbal abuse.
Ano naman ang John Edmond? 150 to 100.
The moral certitude of student Donna be judged as she goes to church confession every day to be washed of all sins.
Saba, sama to.
Police.
Answer.
C.
Kalos. Ay, scrupulous din.
Ang kalos, ito yung mga
Gahi, king heart.
discernment ng mga walang kaluluwa. Kasi pumapatay, wala silang nararamdamang guilt. Callous yan. Callous. Strict is almost as the same as scrupulous and pharisaical. Ang pharisaical is something is kindly mute your microphone muna. A scrupulous person is full of scruples, which are about doing things that are concerned about doing things that are morally right. Such a person is hesitant or doubtful and might have trouble deciding what is morally right or wrong. Ato, what was the degree of moral certitude in the decision of United States to drop atomic bombs on Hiroshima and Nagasaki in order to prevent a prolonged war by a land invasion of Japan? Binomba ng Amerika ang Hiroshima. Kasi kung hindi nila gagawin yan, patuloy yung pakikipaggera, di ba? Ganyera na nga tayo ng Hapon. So, walang katapusan. So, binomba na nila kasi nandun yung mga weapons ng Japan, ng Japanese army. What kind of moral discernment was that?
Certain.
Perplexed, doubtful, probable, certain.
Certain. The only decision.
Certain.
The correct answer is certain. Looking back, si President Truman was the president, never shirked personal responsibility for his decision. Parang si Biden din ngayon, yung nag-withdraw siya ng Afghan forces and American forces sa Afghanistan. Hindi siya nagsisi. But neither he did apologize. He asserted that he would not use the bomb in later conflicts such as Korea. Nevertheless, given the same circumstances and choices that confronted him in Japan in 1945 or during the Second World War, he said he would do exactly the same. You know what happened to Hiroshima and Nagasaki? Maraming civilian casualties doon. Hindi lang naman kasi mga military bases ang nandun. Maraming mga anak sila. May mga, yung nakakita sila ng tao ng binomba is naaag na sila. Meron din naman mga tao na instantly died. Meron din naman ang effect sa kanila is long term. Nagkaanak pa sila na may mga mental conditions. So napakaano ng effect ng pagbubomba ng, and then sabi nila, bakit mo ginawa yan? Sabi kay President Truman, sabi niya hindi daw siya nagsisisi. Kaya he took responsibility for that. but he did not apologize. And if confronted with the same situation as that in way back in 1945, gagawin daw niya ulit yun. No? Sabi niya, it was heavy burden to bear, speaking of himself as president, Truman said. And he alone in all the world must say yes or no to that awesome ultimate question. Shall we drop the bomb on a living target? Living target, kasi may tao dun eh. Every president since Harry Truman has had that power. Lahat sila meron at the click of a ganyan. Pwede silang mangbomba ng mga bansa eh. None has exercised it. Si Truman lang. Pero he was very certain of his decision. Ano na rin yun? Pwede na rin yung choosing between the lesser evil. Pwede rin siya, pero wala siya sa choices, no? So, yan ang tawag yun is certain. Parang siguro si Biden ngayon, di ba? Ang daming, yung bakit hinayaan na i-withdraw. Pero naniniwala si Biden na, nakita daw kasi na ng Afghanistan, parang walang resolve on their own na lumaban. Kasi nagsitakas nga yung mga head nila eh. So sabi ng America cannot defend them forever kasi at the expense of the American soldiers. So hindi daw siya nagsisisi. And it's taking all the responsibilities. Okay, so he was certain sa kanyang decision. Which of the following is most comprehensive and lasting in responding to severe misbehavior of students? 28. Answer? Nandiyan pa ba kayo? Answer?
A, sending letters to parents.
Teachers. And 29, what is equal to giving students the benefit of the doubt?
Charlie, doubt the facts.
No? What is equal to giving
Get the side of the students.
Get the
And then last number for today, what is the difficulty suffered by students who think they cannot do schoolwork and therefore gives up easily on assigned task? Answer?
Ma'am.
Failure.
Okay.